Hey guys, Benji Lewis here with City Hardscapes. Just wanted to do another short video here, kind of going over material choices or different options that you have for your outdoor living space. This video, this time is going to go over when should you have a fire pit and when should you use a fireplace, or even what are the benefits of a fire pit versus a fireplace and vice versa. So the overwhelming difference between a fire pit and a fireplace, of course, is the size of it, right? So one is a fire pit that is, 20 inches tall and 4 feet around, and it puts off a nice fire, nice heat that a lot of people can sit around. Now, a fireplace, even though it's a lot bigger and bolder of a statement in your outdoor living space, you might not actually be able to get as many people to stay warm around that. So that's the first difference, right? It's just the size of it and the amount of people you can get around it, which doesn't seem to really make sense. Is that you'd think the more expensive one, the bigger one would be better for getting more people around, but actually a fire pit is kind of nice. Now, keep in mind to have that fire pit that 8 people could sit around, or 6 people, or 10 people, depending on how big you get this thing. It's not just that $2,000 little fire pit. Well, you also have to add an additional patio area to do that, where unlike with a fireplace, most people put those on the edge of a patio. You could have an existing patio right now and just say, hey, I just want to add a fireplace. You're just adding the fireplace. Put a little pad on it with some piers underneath it to handle the weight, and you're off and running, build the fireplace straight up, and you're good to go. If you decide all of a sudden that you have a patio that you like, but you want to add a fire pit area to it, well, you typically are going to have to add a 15 to 18 foot diameter circled patio to be able to handle the fire pit inside of that. So that's some of the differences. Of course, pricing is of course different, right? If you want wood burning, I mean, we're talking, and we'll stick to wood burning because it's the same if you're running plumbing to them for the most part, is that if you want a gas fireplace, it's the same as if you want a gas fire pit. You're still going to have the actual gas lines that you have to trench and run out to wherever you're putting this fire feature. So let's stick to wood burning. So a wood burning fire pit is going to be around that $2,000 installed price versus a fireplace. Our entry-level fireplace is about $8,000, and then go up to $25,000 is pretty typical for a high-end fireplace. So a lot of fireplaces tend to be in that $10,000 to $15,000 spot. Again, it just depends on how big do you want that fireplace box, right? How big do you want the whole thing to seem? How tall do you want it? Do you want wood boxes on the side for storage? So all those things add pricing to it, but another big difference to it is a fire pit. One of the biggest complaints that we have from homeowners is that they don't like going to their friends' houses that have fire pits because the smoke's always blowing in their face, right? And it is a concern. Believe me, I've tried in my own house. I have a fire pit, and I bought one of the smokeless inserts. Don't waste your money on that. Does it change it a little bit? Maybe. I think, kind of. I spent $900 on one of these. So I was like, oh, it'd be awesome if I could do that. But it didn't really change it. So save your money. Don't buy the smokeless insert. Didn't really work, I wouldn't say. And everybody that's come over, nobody has noticed like, oh, your fire pit doesn't smoke as much. So it's a real concern. Whereas a fireplace, because of how it's built, the smoke does want to go up the flue, right? So it heads up and out, and you don't get done roasting marshmallows or sitting around the fire having a glass of wine and come in and just all your clothes smell like smoke and your hair smells like smoke, especially for ladies, not so much me. I don't have that issue with my hair taking on the fire smell, but my wife does. And we each have our sitting around the fire pit jacket that we wear because it tends to smell like smoke. So that's something to take into consideration. Now, it's a big jump from going to a $2,000 fire pit to a $10,000 or $15,000 fireplace, but there's some niceties that you get with that, and one of them is the smoke. And you get this focal piece when you have a fireplace, right? That is this big thing that looks really nice and it really stands out. Right? I mean, typically if you have an outdoor living area that doesn't have any vertical features, it can get kind of bland, right? If it's just big and wide, it's not as fun as if you have a pergola that you put on top of it, or a fireplace on one end that is the focal, the center around.